up their security because we cannot have our security dependent on the voters of Wisconsin, which I took personally.
America has a lot of pockets of rotten culture, and people, say you have to recognize other cultures and celebrate other cultures. And I've been a hip hop head since I was little, and I celebrate a lot of different cultures of America. But I've also been to West Virginia and seen what happens when people are left unattended in the woods, and it's not good. They shot at the trash people so that they stopped taking the trash, so trash piled up, and then they stopped paying the water bill and just bathed in the river. The humans will devolve into Neanderthalism given the opportunity.
This is a fun fact. John Denver never visited West Virginia before writing Take Me Home Country Road, which is
not.
Although that song is accurate. Take Me Home Country Road. Don't get out of the fucking car.
Yeah,
just
stay in the road.
look at the scenery. Don't get out of the car.
It's Frodo.
Yeah.
Just get on the road.
And there's
stay on the road.
Well, somehow, this first few minutes were not streamed to YouTube, just to Twitch. But no, we were streaming to Twitch, but we weren't streaming to YouTube because the toggle is suddenly off that I did not do. So, but anyway, we're on YouTube now too. Maybe I'll figure out a way to cut in the first
Apocalypse
few minutes.
Eve stream.
Yeah,
I was gonna say like there's parts of Wisconsin, like I'm from Green Bay, which is a little civilized, but like the rest of it, they call it Mississippi.
Yeah, yeah. I watch. I don't know if you ever watched Red Letter Media. They're the YouTube. They're kind of like critics, commentators.
Yeah.
They're in Milwaukee, so
Milwaukee's a really funny town.
I liked Milwaukee. I went to a Brewers game, and it's really a pretty neat city, actually.
Yeah. No, it's coming back. I think there's a lot of like. I think Louisville actually, if they hadn't had the riots, Louisville would be kind of blown up a little bit more. But that kind of freaked everybody out. But like, I don't know, don't shoot people in their sleep. But,
was that Breonna Taylor?
Yeah.
Was Louisville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was. I mean, and Louisville PD were fucking thugs. Like it was clearly like, let's just turn off all of our cameras and do this search warrant without letting anybody know we're cops.
Yeah.
Then somebody uses the Second Amendment right to shoot at you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then I don't know. It's just there have been so many like that where it's like it's basically a bunch of stupid people who get to be in authority, and then they screw something up, and then they can't ever admit they did anything wrong.
Yeah.
And then they have people, well, actually, that person didn't do this one little thing, so they deserve to die, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
I got a lot of respect for good cops. It's a really tough job. I think they need to be. I have the same theory with teachers and cops. They need to be highly paid, highly trained, and highly accountable.
Well, what I always said, and I have law enforcement family, but what I've always said is that, like the Uvalde cops, those cops who didn't go in there and get that kid, they should be dragged out of their house and lynched by other cops.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be some real like keeping it, keeping each other in check on that kind of stuff, My
current theory
police
is
oversight is like military intelligence. It's kind of an oxymoron.
yeah.
Right. It's not going to happen.
I think for police training, they should have to serve 2 weeks at the Spirit Airlines desk.
Right.
And then if you can do that for 2 weeks and not choke anybody out, you get to be a cop. Like you've learned conflict.
You have learned restraint,
de-escalation.
I can't make it through my commute without choking somebody out.
No, I work from home and I can't. I want to choke people out. But I have a lot of respect for good cops. It's you got to be half a lawyer and you got to be kind of a bully. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, they're dealing with everyone's worst day. Everyone they see is at rock bottom.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to say at AA and NA and anger management. The day the police came, that was the worst day of my life.
That was a
pretty
funny,
grim.
That was a funny story. It was my brother he went to a concert. And he saw a lady get escorted out of a Weird Al concert.
Nice.
For being drunk. And I'm like, that'll be your rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna come up in NA. Like, oh, I was at a Weird Al concert and he busted in to eat it and I lost it.
And I ate it.
Yeah.
The cop took me down and I fucking ate it.
And he beat it. That was I took someone's in the noggin and
they
now
threw a
I'm
charge
here
at me and I beat it.
to tell
went to
my
court and beat
tale.
it.
Yeah, it's I hope that's somebody's rock bottom. Jesus. But I do want to join AA just because I may need a contractor one day. That's the best place to find.
Hell yeah.
Like if you need a painter or somebody or an electrician, just make up a few stories and then just like, oh, hey, yeah, oh, you're working. Oh, so,
Donnie, are you going to get a VR headset for the Batman game that's coming?
No, it's there. VR is still nowhere near good enough.
You don't want to be in Arkham?
No, I'm good. I don't have really any. Every time I've done VR, I'm like, hey, this is kind of neat for about 20 minutes, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
The Hellblade one looked interesting. It was the first Hellblade anyway, because they did a VR version of that. Mm-hmm. That was actually pretty cool. Did you play that?
I played the first and second Hellblade, not the VR, but
yeah, I didn't get all the way through the second one. I just kind of I don't know. I was not in the right place just picking it up, but the first one I was really into. That was creepy, but it was good.
Yeah, I mean the way they sell it is they say it's a virtual interactive journey into psychosis and delusion, which
with Vikings.
Cool, thanks. Maybe, I don't know. I got to be in the right mood for that.
Yeah, you should try that with mushrooms.
Yeah.
That would be...
I don't want to watch Requiem for a Dream again, and I don't want to have an interactive journey into what psychosis feels like.
Yeah.
But I played both of them. They're both good. I mean, just graphically, I have to check out what they're up to.
The sound design, actually, that was amazing.
I played their old games. The Journey to the West game, the Monkey game.
I don't think I played
that. Ninja Theory's been around for a while.
Did you play Wukong yet?
Yeah.
How was that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good. We have it here. Well, my save is over here. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I wait for sales. I'm cheap.
Again,
yeah, there's no
gives me a lot of faith in what they're doing in China. Good spare time, whatever.
There are very, very few games I will pay the full $50 or $60 or $60 or $70 for. Like I've said, Zelda, Final Fantasy, maybe, but like I almost always I like to wait until they're like $10 on Steam.
Yeah,
like 3 years later, you know.
Yeah, that was like some of the best. I got Mad Max for like $5. That
Mad
game's
Max
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that game.
No,
There's not any other game where you can bash into people in the desert.
Yeah.
And explode shit from your car like that.
Yeah.
All the stuff you want to do in GTA, like with Reckless Abandon, you can do in Mad Max.
And it does, and they do it better. Like that's the one thing. Like my brother kind of nailed, like the Grand Theft Auto games is that and Red Dead is like it's a bunch of poorly executed things that come together
to make
greater
than
game.
the sum of their parts. Yeah.
But it's like, what if you just had like, why don't you? Like they have amazing driving in Mad Max. Why don't you do that?
Right.
Or the gunplay in Red Dead just really pisses me off. I hate the. Maybe it's the control scheme, or I just got clunky, and I'm like, there are so many awesome third-person shooters where it works, and it's functional, it's great, and they didn't do any of that. I mean, it looks great. The story's really good. The character acting is amazing, but it just kind of sucks. But then you have a game, and that's sort of my view is like it's like they call it a grind. Like people bitch about like Mad Max or even Tsushima, but like it's not a grind if it's fun.
Yeah.
No.
I love slicing people up. I can go at the end of the day, like going home and cutting people in Tsushima is
Tsushima
fun.
has the most accurate feeling. I mean, I don't know what it really feels like to be in a sword fight, but they really feed into the imagination of what that would feel like.
Yeah.
To me, like the perfect parrying and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just so satisfying. And a lot of games tried to do that, like the parry window and the perfect dodge roll.
Yeah.
But Tsushima does it the best out of anybody because the time slows down and there's sparks flying. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm a samurai. I feel like I'm a samurai.
Yeah. You just feel like, and you just feel like a badass, which is.
And then his uncle's trying to get him to be a samurai instead of a ninja, and you're like, no, because I want gadgets still.
Yeah.
Try all the Batman
I'm like,
gadgets.
no, we need a stealth component.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If I stay a samurai, then I don't get a grapple hook. So sorry, Dad.
See, I have a book like The Secrets of the Samurai. I keep it behind me for like Twitch meeting or like Teams meetings.
Oh, cool.
That and the G. Gordon Liddy biography.
Should just keep the Art of War.
Yeah.
So nobody fucks with you.
I have the Anarchist Cookbook. That's a good one too.
Oh, that one got us in a lot of trouble. We made a pipe bomb and blew up my church.
Oh, God. Yeah. We paid cash.
So wasn't that in the back of the Boy's Life or something? Where did you? There was some magazine with an ad.
Where you could get the
Anarchist Cookbook. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Kerrang or one of those punk magazines.
We got it. It was my brother's girlfriend at the time worked at like it was Borders or whatever bookstore isn't there anymore. So she got it like on the down low.
So the Batman VR game, I think is Bruce Timm is dead, right? The voice guy that was all the Batmans and all the animated and everything.
Bruce Timm. That's
what was his name?
Kevin Conroy.
Okay, is he still around?
No, he died like 3 years ago.
So the voice of the Batman VR game guy is trying to be like Kevin Conroy, but he's a little bit gayer. And I think we talked about it before, you and me, at some point off air, and my phone heard me, so I keep getting these pop-up ads. And he's like, this rat cult spreads through Gotham like a plague. I have to stop it. And he's trying to sound like Conroy, but he's just too breathy.
Oh.
I don't know who they chose to like do the voice now, but it's not good.
Oh, that's a shame.
They fucked it up.
God, what was the last one that came out? Was it Arkham Knight or?
Yeah, Arkham Knight. But that was at this point. That's 9 years ago. That was a 2015.
It still looks really good though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I was actually playing back through Arkham Asylum recently because I'd never really played through. I'd watched people play some of it, but I hadn't played it all the way through because I played a lot of City and not much of the other one, the one that was not the official Origins, I guess. But I completely 100% at Arkham Knight. I really liked it. Even the Batmobile parts that everybody complained about, I still thought those were fun.
It was all right. I need to give it. I started it and then for some reason I put it down. I need to start it up again, but. I started Arkham Knight again. I got it cheap and I did all the mods on it, and I don't know, still a little clunky. Like I think I've just gotten so spoiled by some of the other like Ghost Tsushima, where you're just used to amazing gameplay that once you get anything that's a little clunky, I'm like, I don't have time for that. I'm fine.
I know. Like I'll just about 100%. I got into the DLC. I didn't finish that of the first Spider-Man game. I thought that one was great. I haven't really played the second Spider-Man game because I'm kind of finding the sequels to big Sony games that take off, they kind of end up feeling a little bit hollow. Yeah. And too bloated and hollow. And of course, they put things that I think are stupid in there a lot. I liked Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. I played for like 3 months and almost 100%ed it, but I just didn't like it as much as the first one. I mean, it was really pretty and it had some neat things in it, but I think that whenever Sony puts out has a big hit and they put out a sequel, they fall victim to some dumb things a lot of the time. I haven't played the second God of War, the Ragnarok, yet, though. Either,
I haven't played that. But Miles Morales was okay, but it was just kind of short. It was more the same. It was like Spider-Man. It didn't really add anything. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully they don't fuck up Tsushima, the sequel to that. But
strong lesbian woman.
Like, I know the bros were pissed off about that. Like,
it was. Yeah, it wasn't. I think it was more. It was more the. I guess the voice actress or the person that it's modeled on has said some bitchy shitty things, but we'll see how it goes with the second one. Because the first one had, I mean, there was like a narrative reason for all the strong female characters in the first one because all the men had died. So there's some of that. So we'll see how this new one goes.
Hopefully it's not too tacked on there. Yeah. I'll give any girl a pass because she's got to know just how much like bullshit, bro.
You want to look at a dude's
Gamergate stuff
ass the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. And the swimming, like the bath scene, I'm excited about that. But like,
I get dudes trying to talk to me on GTA because I'm a girl on there. Like, what's up, babe? And I'm like, I'm looking at her butt. I'm a man.
Like, how much Gamergate like horrible, stupid, ignorant incel stuff is she gonna have to put up with? So she might as well just start being a bitch now.
Well, also that's a really easy thing to focus on when your game is bad.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody starts complaining about the incel whatever people before the game or anything is out, movie or whatever, that tells me that the movie's bad. Every single time I've seen that kind of stuff, it's like the movie or the game is never good. It always has issues, and it's a really easy way to.
Oh, they're doing the dancing.
I didn't even watch the Alkalite. That was the one that was like super.
Terrible.
Horrible.
That does suck though, because women deserve better in the Star Wars universe. There's totally.
They
like
already had Leia. Leia's
I mean,
they did Leia right. Just do it like that.
All the complaints about Star Wars fans being sexist. I'm sorry, didn't they all love Princess Leia from the beginning?
Yeah.
Was anybody in the 70s and 80s talking about how stupid it was that they had a girl?
Yeah.
You know. So again, that's just a way. It's a way for people to make bad things and have maybe untalented people in charge, and then you don't have to confront that at all whenever your product.
No,
falls.
it does everybody a disservice. Like there could be
Yeah.
some
Tell
really
everybody
good
they're racist.
women character stories in the Star Wars universe. They just haven't done it yet. Maybe it is because they're leaning too hard on like, well, we got a girl, we don't have to be good. I'm like, no, fucking, they deserve a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and like I said, how everything is two fighting sides and all that. It's really really easy to focus on the 3 tweets or the 3 comments that are like sexist or whatever. Whenever you can ignore 50 other comments that really break down how narratively this thing doesn't work or how this doesn't make any sense, or they should have. Why did they have a chip on their shoulder about this instead of just taking feedback and saying, okay, well then maybe we should make this better and that better, Yeah. And really all that stuff does is it just makes this stuff worse. It just makes the movies worse.
Yeah.
Or the shows or whatever.
They're just pumping out so much crap.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the issue is they just, regardless of the theme of it or wokeness of it, it's just they're just putting out so much shit and they're on such a timeline.
Did you see the Skeleton Crew trailer?
The what?
The Skeleton Crew trailer?
No.
It's cute 80s Goonies trying to be, I guess. I'm not really sure what it. But somebody commented because Bryce Dallas Howard is directing some of them, and they're like, "Ooh, I love it because she cooked the best Mando episodes."
Oh God,
cooked
cooked. I don't. I don't like dumb trendy phrases most of the time, and then the latest one is cooked. Oh, you cooked him.
Well, that's funny.
Oh yeah, let him cook. It's
it's funny because it's a girl and she cooked.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, anything Star Wars now, it's not even worth acknowledging or thinking about.
It's a business. That's the problem. They're a business. We've got to get a product out by this date. So it used to be like, well, I don't have an idea.
Flailing. They're not sure what to do or who to do it for or how to do it right.
And they just
everything that comes out.
And then the people who give them pointers saying, "Here is why we liked this original one."
Yeah.
And all that. Then they get called incels, or they get lumped in with incels. So
I think like even like The Mandalorian, like I enjoyed it.
I didn't even watch the 3rd season because I'd heard how stupid it was going to get, and so
it felt like it would have been a really good game with a bunch of side quests.
Yeah,
like that was. Yeah, it was just it could have why does everything have to be a fucking series?
The 1st season of The Mandalorian and then this 1st season of Andor were about the only things that I think were really really stood out.
I thought Andor kind of lost. I got bored on that. I watched the Obi-Wan.
Oh God,
it wasn't great, but it was. I was on. I have it on my. Like when I'm on my spin bike, and I'll just have it on the TV and watch it. It was fine filler for that, but it wasn't great. But
Obi-Wan should never meet Vader again after their duel on Mustafar. The next time they meet each other should have been in episode 4, because then he doesn't kill him again. He beats him and he doesn't kill him again. Why? There's no explanation for that.
Yeah.
Other than he can't because we wanted to make this show where they fight again, but of course he can't. If he wins, he can't. Like neither one can kill each other.
Yeah.
And then that horrible character, girl.
Leia.
The little Leia, the stupid hiding her under the thing and all that kind of stuff, and then but the what's her name? The sister, the Sith, whatever chick. She was terrible, horribly written character, horribly acted character.
I think it's just they're on such a timeline. I think that's the problem with a lot of movies, like the Marvel movies, and it's just they're like, we announced the thing ain't ready. Like you didn't have an idea. Like maybe give it some time and think about it. Hire somebody.
But the question is, how were they so good at that in the mid 2010s and all the way up, pretty much all the way up until Endgame? How were they so good at that, or how were they able to get through it even when there were problems and stuff? How were they able to make it good?
Somehow they hired Joss Whedon, who's apparently kind of a dick, but they burnt him out. Like I mean, he was done after the
Ultron.
Yeah, like. And I think that they were kind of keeping him around like as the consultant, but because he was geeking out on this stuff. But he did such a good job with the first Avengers. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like you could tell, there was a love there. Like, especially like at the end, and he's hitting all the notes, like the cheesy stuff. Like the scene where they're all assembling on the bridge. This was basically like a grown man playing with toys.
Yeah.
And there was
back whenever that was still kind of cool.
Yeah.
And before it got overdone. And so one of the things I've said is that the problem with the writers and the people in charge now is they all grew up on Joss Whedon, so they're all trying to copy Joss Whedon, but none of them are Joss Whedon.
No.
None of them can do it the way he did it. So everything's like, so that happened, that kind of stuff, and and a lot of that. And I'm like, you just aren't talented enough to make this happen. You don't have your own voice.
Yeah.
And but you demand that we pretend that this is exactly the same and just as good as the stuff that is actually good, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of, hey, it's one of those droids. And then again, anytime you get any kind of backlash from the fans, you turn it into a hate crime, right? And it just it keeps things bad. You don't. That's not how good movies are made.
Yeah.
Whenever you make something bad and people tell you it's bad, and then you say, well, we put a black woman as the main character in this, so that means that you're racist.
Yeah.
You're ignoring how to make it good.
I'm like, no, you're racist because the black woman deserves a better Star Wars than this.
Yeah.
Like,
Why do they keep making them the sidekicks of everything?
Yeah.
For like 4 years, there was a black woman 007 sidekick, a black woman Buzz Lightyear sidekick, a black woman Obi-Wan sidekick, and it was like, oh, if you're going to do representation and help somebody out, give them the leading role.
Or make it good.
Make them be
in a good thing.
Sykes.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, like I thought the first Black Panther was good.
It was good, but I thought that it was way overrated for very obvious reasons. If the third act had gone differently, it could have been like up there with the absolute best. But it turned into a CGI bloated crap.
I think that was that's another one. I think it was rushed. Like it was like it was on the slate. Yeah, they got to push it out.
Because Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan were so good.
Yeah, no, they were amazing.
And but it just turned into another. The superhero has to fight the evil version of himself, and there has to be a bunch of CG fights and all that kind of stuff.
But it wasn't wokeness that killed that; it was just shitty storytelling. And
I would give Andor a chance if I were you.
But I will say that it was wokeness that got it nominated for Best Picture. I mean, come on.
Well, also the guy died.
Come on, yeah. Well, he died way later.
Was that before Best Picture?
He died in like 2021 or 2020, like right in the mid-dead of COVID is whenever Chadwick Boseman died. It was obviously one of those like we're going to way over appreciate this thing because it's one of those it's basically the movie version of putting that sign in front of your house. In this house we believe blah 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 blah. It's very
Did you watch any of the Marvel Disney shows? The series?
I tried a couple. Like WandaVision I actually liked. I thought that was that was done pretty well. And then, because it was they had something to say. Like it was a unique, interesting way to do it.
Well, they had Vision, and I wanted to see more Vision because he's like the fucking Mr. Manhattan of Marvel. He can manipulate molecules.
I'd love to see. God, granted, they brought her back for the Deadpool movie, the last one. But if you ever read the graphic novel Electra Assassin. Mm-hmm. That was badass.
Yeah,
was
back whenever before it was
Miller, Bill Sikowitz.
It was that was like long before there was ever the Electra movie or any of that. Right?
I'd love to see him do something edgy like that. That would almost be like what DC kind of did, but with
I've
Joker,
watched every one of the Marvel shows. I quit at Echo, and I can't get through Agatha. I mean, I'm trying. I'm
waiting for Agatha to be done, and then
Agatha is
done. But
I think Agatha was just made for wine moms and gay guys, and then theater people. So I started watching the Winter Soldier one, and then I saw the clip at the end where he goes, "You have to do better, Senator," and I'm like, "Okay, anybody says do better, I immediately am turned off." And then what was after that?
Be better tomorrow.
I didn't watch Loki, but I heard Loki was pretty good.
Yeah, I think I started that.
Loki was all right. They gave Loki 2 seasons.
Yeah,
like he was good. I just don't like most of them. It's just hard to. For me, it's hard to find the time. I'm like, why don't just make a movie? I have time for a movie.
Loki's a Deus Ex Machina, and so is the Vision. These people, there's a couple all-powerful characters in the universe where it kind of reminds me of what bothers me about Star Wars and Joe Rogan. You have unlimited power and resources to do whatever you want. What are you trying to do? Like, we're all watching with bated breath what you're going to do with all your money and all your stuff and everything that you have. And your access and your power.
Apparently you're just going to
do something cool.
On green screens.
That's kind of what I'd love to watch. Like, I really wish Lucas would have just almost done what Coppola did and just take all of his money and do some wacky shit. Like, I haven't seen Megalopolis, but apparently it is nuts. But like, because I may have said this before. Is like that is testament to the profit margins of the wine industry that even Coppola cannot bankrupt a fucking winery. Like, that guy bankrupts everything.
I mean, he did, how he financed that whole thing off his wine, didn't he?
Yeah. It's a lovely wine. I've been to his winery. It's lovely.
I've had his wine before. Yeah.
It's like
the Uncle Ben speech all over again. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. But
you have everything. You can do whatever you want with Star Wars, with Marvel, with podcasting, with comedy. Do something good.
Yeah. Don't just
we're all waiting.
Like, I'd love to see if Lucas would go back because THX 1138 between that and American Graffiti, he could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he really. I'd love to see him do some artsy shit.
I think the problem with Lucas is that he's kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Because after the prequels were always like, now I'm just going to do small little art films for myself, and then he did nothing.
Yeah.
Right. He did that. He produced that terrible Red Tails movie, and then he did a really bad CG movie about like fantasy creatures, and then that was it. Like, he didn't do anything else.
He did Radio. He didn't make it, Radioland Murders, but that was mostly
that was
just
in the
him
90s.
fucking around. Yeah, that was him fucking around with the technology.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I think he's way more influential on since Star Wars is the technology, the THX and the special effects and ILM and all that kind of stuff, like the sound.
He had people telling him no.
Song for the boys on the way to school the other day. They never heard it. I put
What's
it on
that?
in the car. The THX.
Yeah, you don't get that on videotapes
anymore. They don't hear it anymore.
But
they know what it is.
Well, I think a lot of, and I'd love to see the
they know
original
what the Pornhub
drafts.
drums are.
I'd like to see the original screenplays for the Star Wars movies, just because they were so far from what actually happened.
I've got them right here.
Really?
I've got the annotated screenplays.
Nice.
So basically, it's the screenplay of the what you see in the movie, but then it's got notes and notes and notes of saying this was actually originally this character who was a different thing and all that kind of stuff.
Because I'd love to see, because they edit that, and also the editing of it.
Yeah. Well, the reason that Star Wars was so good wasn't just Lucas; it was a collaborative effort. And basically, I've got the a big part of the reason I've got the Empire Strikes Back poster right there is because every name on that, with the exception of maybe Lee Brackett, even though she did write the first draft, that is Star Wars. All those names are Star Wars, not just George Lucas.
Yeah.
Well, it was the parlance of the times too. They were rebelling against something in real life, the studio system and everything.
Yeah. Lee Brackett was a good writer, though. I don't know how much of what she showed up on the Star Wars or on Empire script, but like she wrote The Big Sleep.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And she did a lot of sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. I think she got kind of the main, like, the large movements of the story, but then it was really Lawrence Kasdan that really brought it all. Because like in her script, Darth Vader wasn't Luke's father, and some things like that. So
I think in a lot of cases you need somebody like, and maybe that's the case. It's like Lawrence Kasdan reined him in, and he also wrote Raiders, which I also rated.
Well, the other name right there, is Gary Kurtz.
Yeah,
Gary Kurtz is really the reason because he was the producer. On the first two movies, and he's really the reason that the first two Star Wars movies are as good as they are. I think he kind of I think he was one of the ones who kind of told Lucas, he's like, no, we can't do that. That's dumb. Let's do this instead or whatever.
You need that. I think actually. For Tarantino, Roger Avery was that. For like Pulp Fiction, I think that was his strongest work. When he had, because Tarantino goes on some weird fucking riffs and just needs to be reined in.
We did a whole Tarantino episode where we were like, he has three things. He has the N-word, feet, and what was the third thing?
Pop culture references.
I mean, I love it. Although I just watched The Hateful Eight again, and I just didn't give a shit. But
have you watched the long version of it, the 4-hour version?
I think I did. It was whatever I pirated from the internet, but it was.
It's on like Netflix. There's like it's broken up into like 4 parts or whatever. It was good. I don't know. I really do just kind of. Anytime there's a Quentin Tarantino movie, I'm like, okay, I'm on board. What are you doing? What are we watching here?
I think it's
I'm glad he scrapped that last one. I don't want to see him do a movie about a movie critic. That sounds gay.
Is that the scrap movie critic?
Yeah, that's not happening.
Really? It was it wasn't.
Based
He
on a book,
wasn't.
right?
He was a porn movie critic. It was a guy that actually wrote like really detailed porn
Nice.
summaries. So that's
I'll just read the comments on Pornhub.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's probably more entertaining.
Did you watch The Creator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out why I hate that movie. I think my brother kind of nailed it.
Why I hate this. That's a good
Well-
name for a movie critic article blog. Here's why I hate this.
I was trying to figure it out, like, because my brother kind of nailed it. Is that it seemed like it was something written by AI, like it was like a Chat GPT screenplay. But I also think the editing was really shitty too, and the music. I want to rewatch it just because visually it's great.
Yeah, I thought it was really good visually.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I just, to quote Jello Biafra, it was like a bad laxative. It just didn't move me. Like I just didn't give a shit. And it's, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a story. I mean, the story was ripped off of. It was contrived as shit. I get it. But I've liked contrived as shit things before.
I actually liked The Creator. I mean, I didn't think it was the greatest thing in the world, but I liked it in the way that it felt like the kind of one-off, kind of sci-fi whatever type movie we'd have gotten in the 90s.
Yeah.
Remember how in the 90s there'd just be these kind of one-off, like kind of like maybe sci-fi-ish fantasy,
Like Dark City.
Dark City
was phenomenal.
do you remember that movie No Escape?
Yeah.
Where Ray Liotta gets sent to an island,
Yeah.
and he has to like fight his way through
Lance
it.
Hendrickson, yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool. Like you don't get movies like that anymore.
No. They're all fucking series.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem with all these. It's
Did you watch Mandy? Did you see Mandy?
No. Was that any good?
Yeah. Yorgos. No, not Yorgos Lanthimos. It's another Greek guy named.
Yeah,
that did Mandy.
He also did Color Out of Space or whatever.
It's one of those where at the end of the movie you look up
Lovecraftian
who
type.
made it and goes, what else did he make? And that kind of was me at the end of The Substance, because this shit was so crazy. I was like, I want to see everything else this guy has
I
done.
was like that. It was a Japanese movie I saw. It was a samurai movie, Harakiri, from the 50s. It was a really interesting. It was like an anti-samurai movie because the guy was basically like a socialist that got drafted into the Japanese army in World War II, so that gave him a fairly unique perspective. And it's a good flick. I don't want to give anything away, but it's up there with Rashomon as far as like samurai flicks, and it's beautifully shot and brutal in a lot of ways. But no, the actually, did you see? It was I think it came out like around 89 or 90.
Do you think it's rude to do Asian voice? Do you do Asian voice around the house?
No,
Does your
I
wife
don't.
get mad at you?
No, like
My kids won't let me do it.
I
anymore.
have I have a bit. I just do it on. I just do regular voice because I actually have a bit about like COVID.
Yeah.
And how like I feel bad out of COVID, like because there's the bat thing, like that it was caused by somebody that ate a bat. And which I kind of want to believe, but because it's just so batshit crazy. But, but like, what I feel bad for in that story is like normal Chinese people, because that is not a normal Chinese person. That is the backwaters cousin fucking Chinese
like
dude.
The West Virginia, China,
Like there's
Left
two
unattended.
two normal guys in Shanghai. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, do you hear about Wang? What, the guy that fucked his cousin? Like,
Yeah.
that's the one. What did he do? Like, he ate a bat.
He's the rock star of cousin fucking. He got
Yeah.
bored with cousin fucking. He was like, let's find another hole.
And now we all work at home. That's, yeah.
Now we're all homeschoolers.
I like how whenever it was first, like that first few months, whenever they said, "Oh, it came from a wet market," blah blah blah, and then some people were saying, there's a research lab, a lab in Wuhan that studies these exact kind of viruses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it leaked from there, and then like all of the media was like, "That's racist." Like, isn't it more racist to say that they ate bats and pangolins and they're disgusting wet market people?
Yeah.
Isn't that more racist than saying, "Oh yeah, they screwed up and it got out of the lab that's in that city"? You know,
I will say Wuhan lab ain't nothing to fuck with. But no, like that was. I've been to a wet market in Singapore actually. That's some shit. Like there's like all sorts. There's chickens, they're live, and turtles, and
yeah.
And actually, and then a few floors up, there's a chicken rice stand with a Michelin star.
nice. A stand.
Yeah, it's like a hawker stall and it's pretty good. I had better, but it was pretty good.
So wait, what? You were talking about another movie,
Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Have you ever seen it? It's like because I was a big
Jake
cyberpunk nerd.
Gyllenhaal?
The what?
Jake Gyllenhaal?
No, it was
That's
like
Enemy.
It had Oliver Gunnar, some guy that I thought was going to be the next Van Damme or whatever, and Oliver Gunnar and the guy that played Keyhole in 48 Hours. He was in a bunch of things. I can't remember his name.
1992.
Yeah.
Corey Hiroyuki, Oliver Gruner, Tim Tomerso.
That guy was in everything too.
Deborah Shelton, Brian James, Marjorie Monahan.
Brian James is the yeah. He was in Blade Runner. He was the guy that shot the guy in the opening.
That guy.
Yeah, he was in it.
Yeah. What else was he was in something else?
Because it's the action sequences are actually it's dumb, but it's actually because we were such nerds for like. Cyberpunk.
Fifth Element. I remember he was in the Fifth Element.
Yeah.
I still want to find your one you mentioned last time, the Barrio Beatdown.
Barrio Brawler.
That was not on Netflix.
It was for a while. I'll have to pirate it.
Let's see if I can download Nemesis here real quick.
We need to get you on our Plex, people.
Oh, nice. I already got mine, but it's a dumb. But we were so hungry for anything cyberpunk because like we all read like Neuromancer, Snow Crash, and all the sci-fi, the cyberpunk things, and this is a shittier version of that.
Did you play Cyberpunk 2077?
I did. I want to give it another playthrough. I want to like it. I think I would have liked it more if it was a third person. But
Same. They kept updating it, and I was like, "Come on, you're the Witcher people.
Yeah.
Do the fucking thing that you do."
Yeah, which they eventually got around to it, but
and they made girls with hot asses, and you don't get to look at it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I want to give the expansion a look too, but
I felt like the same way I felt when I watched Mad Men. Like they were really heavy-handed with how misogynistic it was in that time. Like they showed the guys drinking and being shitty to women. And I was like, okay, I mean, I get it. That's how. And Cyberpunk was the same way. They're like, look at all the robot tits everywhere. Yeah.
Apparently, there was a Nemesis 2 Nebula and a Nemesis 3 Time Lapse. There were sequels.
I have not seen them.
They look direct to video.
Nemesis
doesn't surprise me. But check out Nemesis.
I'm downloading it right now. I'll put it on my Plex.
The action sequences are actually pretty good. The story's dumb, but it was fine. What's the other one I was going to recommend?
Did you watch Hardware?
Yeah.
I liked Hardware a lot.
I worked at the movie theater when that came out. That's how old I am. And people walked out. They were like, they hated it. I was like,
how can you? Yeah.
It had an amazing soundtrack. I can still do the Angry Bob speech that Iggy Pop did on that. I mean, because we had the soundtrack. The soundtrack was great.
That band you recommended reminds me of the Animals.
Oh, Archie Bronson outfit?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
There's
awesome.
not enough of that. I mean, again, it's something that it's like stuff before, but that doesn't exist now, and I'm happy that people are making more of it.
Yeah. They're pretty raw. They were good. A couple other bands I usually recommend to people, the Zootons. Mm-hmm. I think they broke up. They're like more poppy kind of stuff out of London or Liverpool, I think, and then the Fratellis.
Yeah. We've been into them.
I don't remember anything I say.
My buddy named his daughter after a Fratelli song.
Nice. Chelsea?
Betsy.
Oh, nice. Nemesis is a pretty dumb. You know, actually, there was one of the Universal Soldier movies that was not bad. It was one of the sequels. It was directed by Peter Hyams' son, who Peter Hyams is an underrated director, in my opinion. He did Running Scared. That was the... It was a Gregory Hines, Billy Crystal. Yeah, it was a good, really funny buddy cop movie, and well done. He was his own cinematographer, and I think he edited it as well. He did The Relic. He did the 2010 sequel, the 2001 sequel, 2010.
Sorry, he named his daughter Betsy Henrietta.
Okay, there you go. But he somehow accidentally made a not horrible. Universal Soldier movie.
Did it still have Dolph Lundgren and what's his name in it?
Yeah.
JBC.
Those are pretty shitty movies. Like the first one was really bad, but
JCVD.
Yeah, I worked at the theater when Hardware came out, and Robot Jocks was also playing.
Robot! I remember seeing the trailer for that thing. It looked like the most cool thing in the world, and now you watch it and you're like, it looked bad.
It was pretty bad.
We didn't have that again until Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
a live action mech movie. They still haven't done a good one.
No, I thought Pacific
Rim was
was
okay.
It was fine.
It was fine. It was
basically Evangelion, but like a dumbed down version of it.
Yeah, but it was but it was fine. But it was not really anything to write home about.
I worked in a movie theater whenever first Lord of the Rings movie came out,
nice.
And we got to see it the night before because they would do the screening for the employees could watch, and oh man, it was awesome. It was like I remember sitting there watching. I'm like, this is better than I could have ever dreamed it was going to be. So I remember when they were making it, I was like, "Oh God, they're making a Lord of the Rings movie. This is gonna suck. Yeah. There's no way you can do this."
I was a big Peter Jackson fan before that.
I like the Frighteners and some of those. Yeah,
Dead Alive was awesome.
Yeah,
Meet the Feebles.
I mean, I was excited for the Doctor Strange movie because what's his fuck was making it. The second one, the Evil Dead
Sam
guy.
Raimi. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But, I mean,
And the best parts of that movie were when it got Raimi-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, that one. That was another one of the trying to introduce bland female characters that nobody cares about in the comic. America Chavez. Nobody cares about that character in the comics. It doesn't sell. She's not an interesting character, but they tried to bring her in for that one.
Yeah.
They did the same thing in the second Black Panther movie. They tried to bring in that dumb Riri Williams, the girl who's even more smarter than Tony Stark and better.
Oh, they're making a show of her now.
And that's going to flop like. That one's been in the can apparently for like 2 years.
Ironheart,
and they've been putting it off, kind of the same as The Acolyte. The Acolyte was in the can for at least a year, and they kept having to like try and they just weren't releasing it because they knew how bad it was and who knew how bad it was going to flop. And that's how they ended up spending $200 million on it.
Why don't they take that year and write like take a year and find a good writer, somebody you trust, and then just
apparently that's hard to do.
It's not. I love writing. I write all day long.
Yeah, I
writing is fun. It's not hard.
Well, I mean that's why people like Andor, because Andor is well written.
Yeah,
it might be kind of boring, but it like the things that happen to it and the way it's constructed, like all the stuff with the Empire and Andor is really awesome. The way it works and how oppressive it is, and especially that chick that. The Deidre Miro, the lady, and that weird kind of incel-y guy who's obsessed with her, and he's obsessed with finding Andor. Those are really interesting characters. That plot line's really cool.
Once it picks up, it really picks up.
I should pick that one up. I started it and I just kind of fell off, but because I loved Rogue One. Rogue One was another one that it had a maybe a little rushed, but it had a beginning, middle, end. And it, I was in and I was on board for it. I thought that was one of the better Star Wars movies to come out, which is kind of a low fucking bar.
This was great also because there's no way they're ever going to have a sequel because everybody died. And then they made a really good sequel.
Yeah.
Prequel.
Yeah.
So you didn't see the parts of Andor where he's in the prison and what's his name? The guy who played Gollum.
That's where I
Andy,
stopped. Yeah.
Andy Serkis is he's like the manager of the floor. That was really good. Like those.
Yeah,
that middle section of the show was really good. I think
I just didn't give it my full attention.
Yeah,
was it? God, I haven't even got through. I stared Boba Fett. Most of the way, and that's fine.
That one was boring.
Like that one was not edited all those into just a movie.
Yeah,
he did Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka. His name is Kai Patterson. You can download the MP4s.
Like
he took the whole show and made it into a 2.5-hour movie.
See,
and he took out all the unnecessary stuff.
I should check that out.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link.
Like how many more of these are gonna fucking make? Like Tales from the Sarnak Pit.
Until George Lucas's children's children can go to college on a yacht.
I think they can already do that. I don't know how many more of those fucking things they're gonna make. It's just
they haven't put out a movie in 5 years. It was December of 2019 whenever the Rise of Shitwalker came out.
God, that was so bad. Like I was just so mad.
Like
just coming out of that, I was like, this is really bad. Like
I didn't even go see it after The Last Jedi. After The Last Jedi, I was like, I'm not paying for Star Wars anymore. Yeah. And I went and saw Solo with Josh because he had an extra ticket. His wife didn't go. And so I was like, well, I'm not paying for it.
I had gotten out of hernia surgery, and I was like, please go with me. I don't feel good.
Solo could have been.
Solo wasn't bad. It was fine. It was just my problem is that I don't need a movie about young Han Solo. I would rather have a movie about young Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
If it was just Donald Glover as Lando, that'd have been better, I think. Maybe you could have had a Han cameo.
They're still working on that. They're still cooking it, Donnie.
Yeah.
Let him cook.
Yeah,
Let him cook.
I think Donald Glover deserves a lot better.
Yeah.
Than that. I'd like to.
But like some of the characters in it, like Woody Harrelson's character, and some of the stuff that happened, it was good, and it had cool special effects. It had neat things happening. They did the whole going through the Kessel Run. They did all that kind of stuff. And, but they did cram way too much shit in there. It's very much like the whole movie reminded me of the first 15 minutes of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where they have to show how he gets his scar. They have to show how he gets his hat. They have to show how he does the whip. They have to show why he's afraid of snakes. All in 15 minutes.
Did you see Alien Romulus?
Yeah. No, I've heard that was like that too. It was
It was distracting.
Remember this? Hey, remember that? Remember this?
Like everything, even Ripley's shoes. Because I've watched Aliens way too many times. And it's like,
get away from her, you bitch. See, he said the thing. He said the thing.
That pissed me off a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and it could have been a really good try at a movie, but like it was because there's a dude that plays like an android in it, and he's actually really good. Like,
well, at first he's kind of like a passive kind of weak character, and then he gets like reprogrammed and he becomes badass.
He's basically like a retarded robot.
Yeah,
basically
right.
Like
There are going to be more Romuluses, and if that's how they're going to do it now, I'm fine with it. I mean, it's better than fucking AVP, man.
How about just nothing? How about there's no more
Go to your
Alien
room
movies?
and think about.
How about there's Alien and Aliens?
Yeah.
And then maybe we remake the Alien 3 that David Fincher was trying to make.
Prey wasn't bad.
Prey was okay.
I thought it was. I thought Prey was pretty good. And again, it was one that was they're pandering to woke sensibilities, but they did a good story, and they did when it got to the point where she was like doing flips and taking out entire French legions, I was kind of like, okay,
bitches can't flip. They're tired. They're in
bed. But it was better than that horrible one that with the giant predator that came out. Did you ever see that one?
I saw
Shane Black actually wrote it, but it was a piece of crap.
I'm actually working my way through them. I started Requiem, which is really bad.
Yeah.
For some reason, I remember that being not that bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad. And then it's just dumb. And then like Predator 2.
Predator 2 is good. Underrated. Like people don't think like everybody is so sweaty in that movie.
To see. I want to see it because I was not allowed to see it.
I was working in the movie theater and that came out. We saw it twice in the same day because we saw it and then we like.
What movie theater were you working at?
I was in Moreno Valley.
Is this a Cinemark or is
Edwards?
Edwards is the franchise?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
It was Edwards Theater. Actually, they had a few. I think they had a couple in Northern California too. But like, that was the funny thing. I was working the door, and this is the thing. At least back in the day, you could just walk. If you look like you know where you're going, we'll let you in. And the guy came in, and it's like, "Hi, I'm Bob Edwards." I'm like, "Okay, who the fuck are you?" Well, go see a movie. I don't give a shit. Then it registered. Like, wait a minute, this old guy's name is on the door. That was actually I was going to say, because you watched Lord of the Rings, because when the first day I worked at the movie theater, we had like a super secret like midnight screening before it opened up.
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome. I enjoyed that. I was like super tired, but like 2 a.m. and Sid Vicious singing "My Way" came up. I'm like, this is the greatest movie ever.
Yeah.
So.
I'm trying to think what the first Scorsese movie I saw in theaters was. I think it was maybe, I don't know, The Departed. Like I didn't see Casino or any of those.
Yeah, I think Goodfellas is his best. Honestly, I thought The Departed was fine, but it was just Nicholson chewing scenery. And
I like Mean Streets because he was young and hungry and trying to do something crazy.
Taxi Driver 2, I get that. I think that like Paul Schrader's script was amazing, but Cape Fear, he had a lot of fun with. I thought that was. I think he's best when he's just trying to fuck around.
I don't think I saw Gangs of New York in theaters either, or The Aviator. I think The Departed was the first Scorsese movie I saw in theaters.
I don't think I ever saw The Aviator. Which hopefully they got into how batshit crazy Howard Hughes got.
I think it was hit when he was. I think Aviator happens when he's younger.
We made a whole Killers of the Flower Moon episode, Smellers of the Flower Poon. It was good.
Here's the thing about that movie, and I'm sick enough. I think that movie would have been much funnier, much more awesome as a musical. Like, imagine a musical
baby.
about these stupid, horny white dudes that are basically useless.
Yeah.
Courting these millionaire Indian oil ladies.
Yeah, right.
And it's because
the musical
just
parts of it
shitty.
were really good. The musical parts of that movie were awesome.
Yeah.
The slow motion with the oil going in the air and everything.
No, but I like a sing and dance. Like, there's
The thing that bothered
dating.
me about it is that she was listing off no investigation on all these Indian murders.
Mm-hmm.
And then Plimpton showed up and was like, I've just formed the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, there weren't any investigations because the Bureau didn't exist before that. And, of course, the local cops aren't going to do shit. They're white.
Yeah. That one didn't. It was too long, and I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I didn't. There wasn't really a care. I guess you're supposed to be with, like her. Like you're supposed to, she's kind of the protagonist, even though it's from his point of view. But he's just such a piece of shit. There's nothing redeeming about him at all.
Yeah.
It was just. I don't know. I feel like I got the framing of the story wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't know what the right framing would have been. But
it was probably tied to the book too much. That I think a musical.
And I also thought
I
also thought the Irishman was kind of the same thing. It was too bloated.
Oh God, it was too long. Yeah.
And the de-aging, like whenever it's 80-year-old men walking around made up to like they're 40, still moving like an 80-year-old man. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Goodfellas probably is his best movie.
It was tight, and it was just, I don't know. And some of his other stuff that I've never seen New York.
I haven't either.
And I haven't got through After Hours yet. I need to watch that. But
I
like
watched
his other
Raging
70s
Bull
stuff.
for the first time, and that's another one of those where at the end I'm like, God, Jake LaMotta was such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Just an absolute piece of shit.
But yeah,
King of Comedy, of course, like we were saying about Joker. I'm like, well, I already saw the King of Comedy.
Yeah.
That was better, right? And Taxi Driver was better.
Like Casino, I just didn't give a shit.
I like Casino, but it seemed like just more Goodfellas.
Yeah, with a chronically underused Don Rickles.
Yeah,
like,
right.
God, he was so. I literally wished he could have beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah.
I would have paid a lot more money to see that.
Now, there's a lot of his movies. I haven't seen After Hours. I haven't seen The Color of Money. I've watched The Last Temptation of Christ when I was like 16.
That's a weird one to see that because like seeing Harvey Keitel playing Judas as like a New York Jew.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you, Judas?
Jesus is on the cross, and he's like, "You're gonna be okay. Say the fucking goddamn
You'll
word."
be okay.
Like
Age of Innocence, Kundun. I saw Hugo in theaters. It was okay.
Yeah.
And then Silence, which we were watching that at your house that day. And I was like, Jesus, this is brutal.
Yeah.
They're doing to these missionaries.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
That was great.
Was it
What
Shane
they were
Gillis?
doing was giving them what they deserved.
Shane Gillis said that Silence is a good movie to put on whenever you want your girlfriend to go, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, I always want my wife to go to bed and let me
Yeah.
watch what I want to watch.
Yeah.
So Silence is on all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just not the biggest Scorsese fan. Other than Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
But after that, I don't know. Yeah.
I think still my favorites are Fincher. I go up and down on Christopher Nolan, but I will say that Oppenheimer was really good.
I need to give it another watch. I got into it, but I just didn't really. I thought the first Batman was incredible.
Yeah, Batman Begins, and of course Dark Knight. Although Dark Knight, you go back and watch it, and like, wait a minute, there's some things in that don't make sense. You're so like enthralled by the Joker and what's going on in the story that like you're like, wait a minute, it didn't show how he got out of that situation.
Yeah.
You know that
No,
kind of thing.
and they could have tightened it up a lot.
Yeah.
And especially then you go through all the character that you create a good Harvey Dent. You give a Two-Face origin story.
Yeah.
And then you just
kill
fucking
him
kill
off,
him.
yeah.
Like what are you doing?
Harvey Dent was in Joker too. He got blown up his face.
Oh, okay. Was it the same guy or was it?
No. What do you
But
mean?
they just because they're just rebooting.
Oh,
but
Yeah, this is like another universe,
Yeah.
right?
No,
It's
he's a very
Elseworlds.
handsome lawyer, or DA guy.
But I will say that my favorite Christopher Nolan movie still, I think, is The Prestige.
I need to rewatch that.
I think the structure, because you know how Christopher Nolan, since the beginning, he's
Another
always wanted to
one-word
play with
title.
the structure of a movie, narrative structure.
Yeah.
I think that the way that plays with narrative structure is probably, aside from Oppenheimer,
I'd like to see Nolan and Tarantino write jokes and see what they do with the joke structure.
That'd be, they'd probably end up remaking Kubrick's The Killing. But actually, the structure with Dunkirk was pretty interesting too. As far as the
another one-word
name.
It
was a cute little bow, huh?
Another one-word name. I was listing off all the one-word names of Tenet.
Yeah.
Prestige, Dunkirk.
I gotta watch Tenet.
The next Nolan movie is a 1920s vampire horror with Matt Damon and Tom Holland.
And Nicholas Hoult, I think. Okay. Or no, that's somebody. That might be somebody else.
Nicholas Hoult is in Nosferatu.
Although his third Batman movie really pissed me off.
Well, the third Batman movie was all the issues that the second one had just blown up to like way bloated.
My 1 word review was Batman.
Yeah,
I just didn't.
Oh, and we were so hyped for that movie. We were so hyped for that movie when it was coming out.
Yeah, because he was going to break his back, like in the comics.
Yeah, no, the structure. That was a structure. Well,
Tom Hardy has a beautiful mouth, and they took that away from us. I just spent all of Venom 2 watching Tom Hardy's beautiful mouth. Speaking of shitty movies, oh my god,
I tried
Venom 3. Sorry,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it's another one of those. I'm like, that doesn't even register to me. Like the Venom movies have never, like, I'm like, okay, you know.
I mean, I use my kids as an excuse to watch shitty crap.
I think
just to
that's
like,
just
have
kind of
it
a
on.
shame because that's one of the one-off ones where they could have taken some more chances with it, and like
it took him 3 movies to get to New York. Finally, he's in New York, so he can meet Spider-Man.
Like I thought, the original Crow was a lesser comic that they did a really good job with. Hellboy.
Did you watch the Sandman show?
No,
it was so good.
Need to. But
I don't know if there's going to be more Sandman after Neil Gaiman. He's gotten canceled now.
I thought Blade was the first. Actually, I like all the Blade movies.
Whenever the iPod showed up in the third Blade, I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, they were silly.
Jessica Biel had to listen to her iPod, and the camera had to focus on her iPod and show, hey, look, she's got an iPod.
Wow.
But Ryan Reynolds was good in that one.
Yeah, he was fine.
There's a bunch of movies that had Sony phones that were Sony movies, and they zoomed in on the Sony logo.
I was watching Casino Royale the other day because it was just on TV, and he's flipped up he's got the big Sony Vaio logo, and I'm like, oh, that's what James Bond uses. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Tenet, going back to Tenet, my review of that movie was Christopher Nolan presents Christopher Nolan's Christopher Nolan, a Christopher Nolan film. Yeah. It's him. He came up with an idea that he thought was cool, and then just worked backwards from there.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson's great in it because Robert Pattinson's good in everything. But other than that, I think it's probably in the lower tier of his movies. Even though it's a really cool concept and some neat things happen in it, it's just kind of like, it's like the whole thing's on rails. Yeah. And John David Washington is a cardboard cutout in that. He's terrible in that movie. Yeah. I don't know why.
He was all right in The Creator.
He was all right in The Creator, and he was okay in Black Klansman. But
he's funny in that.
He's a plank of wood in Tenet. He's really bad.
Yeah, I'll have to give it another shot. But yeah, I thought I loved Inception. I thought that was
Inception was good. It was cool.
But it is a weird fanboy with Nolan that I don't understand.
I feel like my lack of intelligence is being insulted when I watch those movies. Like, just put it in order. I want to watch a 2-hour story.
Memento made my head.
I don't want to jump around.
Yeah, I'm Memento. That was the first Nolan movie because that was before Insomnia, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that one was cool, but it's one of those that I don't want to go back and watch a whole bunch.
No.
You know.
Well, I think if you play it backwards, it's kind of a dull movie. But
yeah, right.
Like playing the country song backwards.
But
yeah, the structure is the whole point of that movie.
Like Inception made my head hurt a little bit. That was fine, but the it was. But yeah, the weird fanboy on that. I don't get the Nolan fanboy.
It's one of those that, like, kind of like I said with Joker.
Yeah.
It's one for people to say, "Oh, this is so, smart and so like complicated." When I'm like, it's really not that complicated on most of his stuff.
It's like that, I there was always every generation, and now I'm not of that generation, so they're going to have their things. Like I think a lot of people have a hard-on for the movie Heat. I don't think the movie Heat is a really great, amazing shootout, but then a lot of just tacked on shit. I thought, and it was some great performances, but
yeah, with Pacino and De Niro in the movie as those roles, I don't need to know about Val Kilmer's marriage.
No, yeah, and there were parts of it that were just like pandering. And I don't think Michael Mann's that great of a director.
You know what I think a better version of Heat is The Town.
Hell yeah.
I think that's a better version of
Heat.
Heat.
That, actually.
It's really good.
But there's people like, this is the greatest movie ever was Heat. And I'm like, no. The shootout is amazing. Like that is an absolutely amazing shootout. But
have you seen Good Time? The Safdie brothers?
No.
Uncut Gems. The movie they did before Uncut Gems.
Okay. God, that movie stressed me out.
Yeah.
Like, just a bunch of loud screaming New Yorkers for 2 hours.
Bad selling point, like that whatever the other game we're talking about, Heavenly Sword. What's it?
Oh, yeah.
This movie is a descent into madness of stressing and gambling addiction and.
Yeah.
Why do I want to watch that?
Yeah.
It's like Requiem for a Dream. I'm not going back to there.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be in the mood to watch Requiem for a Dream again.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a good movie.
Like, but
I'm
I
not
love
putting
Adam
myself through
Sandler.
that.
I love Adam Sandler in like dramatic roles. He's great. Like Punch Drunk Love, amazing.
Did you see his newest special?
No.
Safdie's directed it.
Oh,
and there's like a whole drama before and after of the backstage stuff.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
Nice. But yeah, I like it. But yeah, that movie just stressed. But mostly, it's just a bunch of people I don't like.
Yeah. There's no hero.
Loud.
Yeah.
It's like watching Succession. There's no good guys in this.
I would say
a piece of shit.
I would say watch Good Time. It's like that, but better.
Yeah.
But everybody is, or like at least the main character is also a piece of shit in that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, besides Nolan and Fincher, Villeneuve is the other guy who I'm like, I will watch anything he makes, even if it's bad.
Is he involved in the Dune show?
I don't think so. I don't think he's
it's his
like,
universe.
His version of the universe.
I think I'm too tied to the David Lynch Dune.
Yeah.
Because I saw it and I love. And I was a dork. I saw it in the theater when it came out, and they knew nobody would understand any of this shit, so they gave you a little flyer.
Yeah,
nice.
and then of course they had to like narrate everybody's thoughts.
It's like the glossary at the beginning of the Clockwork Orange book.
It was like it literally they gave you like, this is a sand crawler and these are like a thropter and
wow.
And that movie it looked amazing. It looked great.
Yeah.
And it had some really weird shit in it. I thought actually after that weirdness, I thought like the new one was
too mundane almost.
Yeah, it was fine. I enjoyed it, but it's probably because I just know the source material too much. I'm constantly comparing that.
Dune was the one book that I did not read. I read I read Lord of the Rings. I read everything that had a following or whatever.
Yeah.
I never read Dune, and I watched. I hadn't even seen the Lynch version of Dune, other than like it was on TV in the background when I was a kid sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I watched the Villeneuve version of it, and I really liked it. And I found like I could follow it pretty well, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, there's some stuff cut out of it, and there's some stuff you miss.
Yeah.
And then and now I'm actually reading Dune for the first time, and that fills in so much more stuff. Yeah. And I think I'm actually glad that I never read Dune before I watched these two new ones, because I think it makes me appreciate these more because I see what he took from the books, and he's like, okay, this is how I'm going to make this into 2 movies, right?
Yeah. And
I'm going to cover everything, right?
Yeah. I think it's better to go in cold, like especially right after reading.
Yeah.
I had that was the first time I
Dune 2 was the best IMAX movie I've ever seen in my life. But the technology gets better every year. Yeah. So every year, it's like the opposite of The Office Space. Every day is the worst day of my life.
Yeah.
Every IMAX movie I see is the best IMAX movie I've ever seen because they keep advancing the technology.
But actually, Hunt for Red October, I had read the book like right before I saw the movie. And I didn't I love the movie now. But I didn't appreciate it as much because I was constantly thinking of the book and what was different. And
well, for me, when I was a kid, Jurassic Park, I watched the movie and then I read the book, and the book is so much bigger and more complicated and has more things happen in it.
Yeah.
But of course, now I can go back and watch the movie, and I can say, God, this is almost a perfect movie.
Yeah, it's
as far as its structure and the way it's put together.
Yeah, and that's where I don't think Spielberg gets enough credit as an action director.
Yeah,
like I think he understands escalation of events and
things
like that.
I'll tell you what, it was kind of a crappy movie, but that War of the Worlds remake he did, I had dreams about the tripods in that movie for like years afterwards. He did such a good job showing you that. I think that was just him kind of fucking around, but
But yeah, even like did you ever see Always with
Is that the one where they're like the fire plane putting out?
Yeah, I love that movie.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and
The
some of
song.
the sequences in that were great. I love that movie. I have a soft spot for it, but a lot of people don't like it. But
that was great. John Goodman. That kind of showed that he could stretch his dramatic chops.
Yeah, I mean everybody. It was great. Audrey Hepburn. I think. It was
Audrey Hepburn was like one of her
film.
last movies.
And it's
right?
slow dancing at junior high dances to that song.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
wow.
like the sun.
Yeah.
I really think though that Spielberg. I mean, he's made good movies since, but really after Schindler's List, I think he just like that was him. That was his peak, and then after that, he never.
That was his denouement.
I
mean,
like
Lincoln was good.
I still haven't watched
Amistad
Lincoln.
was all right, but like he never like it's pretty much aside from like 1942 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a constant rise until you get to Schindler's List, and then after that he drops off.
I thought Minority Report was great, except for like there were a couple dumb scenes. That
Whenever
I was like,
his eyeballs roll down the
like
thing,
that.
why did you put? And then when he eats the moldy sandwich, I'm like, why did you put that in there?
Yeah,
Dude, I had a girlfriend with a shaved head, and all my roommates were like, "Fucking Minority Report's coming over."
Yeah,
yeah, like I like it's. But I loved that movie. I thought it looked great and was really well
it was
done.
a cool idea. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought AI. It was
I like
more
how
of a
all
Kubrick
their
movie, but-
predictions came true. There
Yeah.
was like they scanned your made like the personalized ads, and then they had the touch screens.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, and now they have AI that they could probably predict crimes pretty well with AI now if they just did some pattern recognition.
Yeah. But did you read Snow Crash? Because that's a brilliant book, hilarious.
Is that Neil Stevenson?
Yeah.
yeah,
And pretty much like he predicted like Google Earth.
yeah.
It was sort of a new age of like cyberspace, and he had like it was like a virtual place, and it's you really should read it because it's hilarious to start with. It ties in basically pizza delivery, samurais, Gilgamesh, Baptist speaking in tongues, and he makes it all work. It's
Wow.
and it's funny as shit.
Reading my diary.
I remember kids talking about it when I was like in middle school and high school about the Snow Crash, but I never actually read it.
No, you should. I mean, like the bad guy in it is like the 6'5" Inuit guy that drives around with he's got a nuclear bomb that he has on a sidecar in his motorcycle, and it's hardwired. If you kill him, the bomb goes off.
Yeah, nice.
It's a badass book.
It's a long one too. It's pretty
not super long. It's like longer than Neuromancer, which I think they're gonna fuck up Neuromancer. They're making they've been talking about.
I mean,
making that into
they've already made 50 different versions of Neuromancer. Neuromancer was the Matrix before there was the Matrix, and there was every idea in the Neuromancer has been done in movies and books and shows and all that by now. I mean, it's. I was reading, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so good!" But this would have been so much better if I'd have read this in 1987.
I did. I read it. I read it in 1993 when I was on campus detention my senior year, because I fucked up. Because I was 18 my senior year, so I could like write my way out of class and just say, I didn't feel like showing up, and then I would be excused. But I fucked up and didn't do one, so I had to go to on-campus detention, and I knew the guy it was the on-campus guy that was running it, and I didn't have to do all this shit they did like normally. Like they had this thing of like the packet. He's like,
Is it like jail? What is on-campus detention?
It's like
it was like it was you just
like in-school suspension kind of thing. Like
so for one day, and I just
sit in a room.
I sat there.
So
and
I went to
read
Christian
Neuromancer.
college. They just fined me hundreds of dollars.
Oh, yeah. I sat there and read Neuromancer,
Jewish college.
And this was before the internet. You had to imagine, like, wait, it's a graphically based information. Like, you had to actually think on that and try to imagine what's going on. But even more than that, though, I mean, at its core, though, it's a really good like noir tale.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
it's like there's a mystery
story.
and there's the dame comes and she's and you get.
That
Doesn't she have
great
like
flick.
knives for fingers or something like this?
I named my cat after Molly. My cat is named Molly. She is 21 years old.
How many kids do you have? Just one?
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta have 2, right?
Huh?
You gotta have 2. You gotta have a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to get like a kitten at some point, but Molly's so old that she would like, she knows. She's like, I'm the backup cat now.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I lost 2 cats in the last year, and the second one died. I helped my wife bury it, and then I got a text from Audrey. They wanted me to perform at Roscoe's that night.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, well, honey, This doesn't happen often.
I've had to do that. Like I've had to do that.
Get over yourself to go do some jokes.
Yeah. I buried a cat, and on the same day I had to do a show.
Yeah.
That sucked. But yeah, it's.
That's a good thing to have in common. I was talking to my boss at work, and I told her that AR French band, whatever, the Moon Safari album was my college makeout album.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, it was mine too. And I was like, that's a fun thing for us to have in common with each other.
Yeah.
To have in common with each other, but also not with each other.
Yeah. We're close to the same age. And then I was like, you know the song Remember? Remember at the end of Moon Safari?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's got a good beat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've made out and, successfully made out long enough, the beat comes in it's a good fucking beat.
Yeah.
At the end of
Nice. Nice.
Remember.
All right, well, it's 10. I think we should end the stream.
Yeah,
I got you to the
think we
good
head
part
out.
of this game, Donnie. Now you don't have to do the
now I
shitty
have
part.
open world. Now I don't have the intro. That was a long-ass intro.
Well, I got lost there for a little bit.
Yeah.
This is kind of where the game goes downhill for me, but
Oh, you played this?
yeah, and I think this is where I stopped. I got lost, and I'm like, hey, I don't like getting lost.
And once you get to Grease's bar, you have like the whole world, and you can do it. You just have to get through this little slog here. But yeah, it's easy to get lost. They don't point you in any direction in this game like what you're supposed to do
want to
next.
play Titanfall.
Well, you can't play Titanfall anymore, right? You have to play Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Because they
Is this the same
completely got
people?
rid of it.
Same engine? Same company?
Yeah.
Respawn?
So, all right. Well,
All right.
yeah,
Well,
I should bug it out.
thanks for being with us, Mike. This was fun.